I recently ditched the A6600 for the ZV-1. I know it's confusing, but just let me explain why I did this and why you might want to do the same. The Sony A6600 is a mirrorless APS-C camera with the option to use different lenses, and it is weather sealed. The ZV-1 on the other hand is a compact camera with a 1-inch sensor, which is smaller than an APS-C sensor, and without going into all the technicalities, that means that this actually performs worse in low light, and it does not have the same dynamic range as the Sony A6600, the Sony A6600 having a better dynamic range. Now, if you want to learn more about sensor sizes and what that all means, there will be a link in the description. On top of that, the ZV-1 has a fixed lens that is equivalent to 24 to 70 millimeters, and it is not weather sealed. And here's the best part: the battery of the Sony A6600 lasts 3 times longer than the battery of the ZV-1. So why in the world would someone switch to the ZV-1? Here's the thing, on YouTube, especially in the filmmaking niche, it is always about getting the better and the newer camera. Downgrading is almost unheard of. But instead of getting the better and the newer camera, why don't you just get a camera that better fits your needs? That is exactly what I did, and that is why I got this cutie. See, initially I got the A6600 for vlogging. I had the A7 III, doesn't have a flippy screen, it was too big, too heavy for me to vlog with, so I picked up the A6600. I love this camera, it's great, made a review on it. If you want to check it out, link will be in the description. But I soon realized that this camera was just too big and too obvious to vlog with, at least where I live. So actually, instead of this being my vlog camera, it actually kept me from making vlogs. I made a few vlogs, but not as much as I wanted. And then I went to Sweden, I met Peter, and he has been vlogging with this camera for quite a while now. And I was so impressed with this camera that I just had to buy one myself. Now, this camera may be small and the specs might not impress you that much, but honestly, the visuals that come out of this little thing, they will. This little thing can shoot up to 30 frames per second in 4K and 120 frames per second in 1080p, and it has an aperture of f1.8, which looks so good. It is so easy to use, it is discreet, the built-in microphone is pretty good as well. I definitely think that it's good enough for vlogging. What I love about this so much is that the setup is so small, because this is literally all you need. No tripod, no extra microphone, this is it. And because it's so small, it's so easy to carry it around with you. I usually put it in my pocket of my coat when I go somewhere, and normally where I would be stopped if I brought this thing in, because it looks more professional, you know, especially with like an external microphone on it. No one is stopping me with this camera, which makes it so much better for vlogging, and I have vlogged way more with this camera in 1 week than I've done with this one in an entire year. There are 2 main downsides of this camera, and the first one I already briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video, and that is the battery life. The battery life on this thing is pretty horrific in my opinion. You can film with it for about like 30 minutes before it dies on you, which is not practical at all, but obviously you can easily fix it by getting some extra batteries. The second downside of this camera is the lens. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, this lens is equivalent to 24 to 70 millimeters, which is just a little bit too tight for vlogging in my opinion. Especially if you turn on steady shot, you are losing a few of those millimeters. I've heard that from 24 you actually go to 30 millimeters, which is quite tight. Now, if you want, you can obviously turn it off, but then you would have to deal with shaky footage, and I don't really like that, so I have it turned on, which just means that the first time that I was using it, I was kind of like, whew, this is quite intimate. We're really in each other's space right now. I really enjoy the 10 to 18 on the A6600, and I wish that this lens was just a little bit wider, even 24. I wish it was just a little bit wider, but honestly, the quality, the value, everything that you get from this camera, it's worth the lens and it's worth the bad battery life. A full review on this camera will be coming very soon, so make sure that you hit subscribe. And if in the meantime you are very curious about the A6600 and the combo with the 10 to 18, make sure that you watch my review right here or watch the video that YouTube thinks is best for you.